It's indie wrestling time. That's right, because it's Thursday night, and we're ready to talk about some of our favorite indie wrestling right here on Ring Respect Radio. So that means, boom, just like that, it's Thursday night, and it means it's time to party with us. We're the Video Bros. My name is Bobby Munson, and sat right beside me, he's the man with the angelic voice. He's Papa Smokes. Papa Smokes, happy Thursday. How you doing, brother?
Munson, that was an especially good intro. I'm doing great tonight, and I'm always happy to be here on OLE Podcast for Ring Respect Radio, baby. Can we talk some wrestling tonight, Munson?
Oh, we're definitely going to be talking some wrestling here, Papa Smokes. We're going to be talking about a different company from Saskatchewan here tonight. We're going to be taking our first peek in at Reaper Wrestling. That coming somewhat in the little bit into the show, but as always, we got to greet the peeps here, Papa Smokes. That's going to start right here. Zach Minger always getting in there early, saying hello, Bobby, and hello, Papa Smokes. And, of course, our good friend, Basser. Good evening, handsome gentlemen. Good evening to you, handsome Bass. Hope you're in that. No, fuck it. Nobody's enjoying the today's weather anyway. I mean, it's cooking out there. We'll get to weather stuff in a minute here. Melball Collins is in the house. Hello, Melball. Thank you for joining us here on a Thursday night on Ring Respect Radio. But, yes, Papa Smokes.
Oh, I was just saying hi to Mel. Continue, Munson.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay. Sounds good. But, yeah, we're also going to say hello to our good friend, the Mangler, saying hello, fine gentlemen. Hello to you too, Mangler. Thanks for being here on a Thursday night. And as well, hello to our good friend, Astrid Bizarro, up in the house. Hello, Astrid. Thank you for being here on a Thursday night. You know, Papa Smokes, I was talking about how it's, Bass might not be enjoying this weather because, it's a little toasty. We talked to me. It seemed like just yesterday we were talking about the snowstorms we were having on a Thursday night. Now we're breaking heat wave temperatures. Like today, it made plus 37 Celsius. Yes, for all our American friends, feel free to head over to Google and calculate Celsius to Fahrenheit. So you'll know how much we're cooking up here in Saskatchewan tonight. It's a hot day, but you know what? It means that they put out all sorts of little things on the apps, on your computer, whatever. It's a warning, heat warning, stay in from the heat. This weekend, there's a thunderstorm warning that's coming about. All these warnings, and they're all related to the same thing. They're a storm warning, but the best storm warning is coming at you on Saturday, June the 27th, care of Prairie Pro Wrestling, because PPW presents a Storm Warning live in Saskatoon. Get your tickets because we are almost sold out of reserved seating, Papa Smokes. The reserve seating is just about sold out for that show. It is going to be the hottest ticket in town. Get your seat today to make sure that you're part of the action. It's 31 here currently in the Edmonton area. I would take it, to be honest. Well, I mean, I'm guessing if it's 31 now, it's gone down a bit. I think we dropped a couple of notches here today, Papa Smokes. But, man, if it's hot here today, you'd imagine just how hot it's going to be in the Cosmos Senior Center on Saturday, June the 27th, for Canada's hottest pro wrestling company, Prairie Pro Wrestling.
Well, hot in a few different kinds of ways, Munson. Yes, the temperature will be sweltering as it is here today. I mean, classic Western Canadian weather here. I mean, 1 minute it's snowing and blizzarding in May, and then the next minute it's 37 degrees. I don't know what to think of it. I've lived in this all my life. You can turn one way and it's one thing, turn one way it's the other. But at least that long, dark, cold winter is over. I'll take some hot weather right now. Just anything to get rid of the snow and everything. It's nice, but it's going to be hot for PPW. And we've got hot action coming up. We've got cold drinks. And we've got all the things that everybody loves about local wrestling, independent shows in Saskatoon, just off Broadway at the Cosmos Center. I'm looking forward to this, Munson. It already seems like a long time since the last one, and we've got a couple more weeks to wait until this one. In fact, almost 4 more weeks to wait before storm warning. But I'm going to be ready for it, Munson. I have my camera in hand, ready to go and ready for some excellent independent action.
Melville's saying the weather is menopausal. there is menopausal. That's a good one, Mel.
Hot flashes. Yeah.
Like it's going to be hot in Saskatoon that night. Of course, we love it. And you said it seems like it's been a long time, and In a sense, it has. I mean, I guess you were there in the audience, but you weren't there down at ringside on April the 18th when we had WrestleMania, but it was April 4th between that. So one of the longer gaps that we do have between shows. But it's kind of funny because it feels long, yet we had that doubled up showing in April. So it's, it's almost like we had two back-to-back shows, but because they were so close together, it does feel like quite the gap. So I've been missing the Nation Pop Smokes. I've been missing the smells. I've been missing the noises. I've been missing the intensity, and I can't wait. That's going to be one of the best days of the entire summer is that night in Saskatoon. And like I said, tickets are selling fast. The seating is almost sold out. We will be putting the general admission tickets on sale very, very shortly. So stay tuned for that. Make sure that you're part of the action. You do not want to miss it. If you've never seen Prairie Pro Wrestling live, now's your opportunity. Get in on it. Get in on the fun. You will get the addiction to it. You will become a PPW fan instantly because it's not just about the wrestling. It's the experience, the overall experience from pulling up for the first time, standing in that parking lot amongst the other members of the nation, cramming into that building shoulder to shoulder, hot dogs in hand, beers in hand, White Claws in hand, noise, constant noise, yelling, screaming, profanity like you've never heard before, but in the cleverest of ways that make you smile and enjoy everything that is Prairie Pro Wrestling. Have I sold it enough yet, Bob Smokes?
Oh, yeah, I think so. But for all of our fans that are regularly attending, there's something to think about too, and that is the two titles in PPW. One, the tag team title. That's been an extremely hot scene for the last more than a year. Short Kings looking very good holding on to the belts, but have had a couple of moments where it's like, oh, the belt, they're holding on to those belts tenuously. So we're going to see what happens with that. But don't forget,
did you forget about the last show, Bob Smokes? We had new tag champs.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But I mean, the scene is always hot. And not to mention Michael Allen, Richard Clark holding on to that heavyweight PPW title. But he's got a crazed cowboy hot on his heels. And Jacob Creed is extremely serious, extremely motivated, and very, very driven to get this title. So Clark's going to have to be on his best. He's going to have to watch his back if he wants to hold on to that gold, because the Brotherhood and Jacob Creed are coming for him.
Yeah, you bet. And in all 7 years of Prairie Pro Wrestling, Papa Smokes, we have yet to have Michael Allen, Richard Clark, and Jacob Creed in a ring that didn't have to be some sort of street fight or end by nefarious ways of both guys being so viciously destroyed by one another that we had to call the match off. Like, these two flat out hate each other, and it is going to be seen. Of course, the main event of the last show getting canceled at the hands of the Brotherhood, Jacob Creed saying there would be no main event. What is going to happen at Storm Warning? Well, there's only one way to find out. Get your damn tickets. That's what you got to do. Bob Smokes was enjoying the seats last show. He was. Yes.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to put it. Yeah.
I mean, and why not, right? Like, an experience like that. Again, with how limited the space around the ring was at the WrestleMania, considering that it's a stadium show, right? Like, that's the funny part. By the time they've set us up where we're going to be performing the wrestling show at halftime and before the game starts, there was such a narrow amount of space. There would be no room for us to have two of our own camera operators, because they had three of their own camera operators on the floor as well too. So space was tight. I had the pyro behind me, Pop Smokes. It was hot up in that building that night. I got sparkler pyro things going off behind me. You can feel them shooting at the back of my head that night. So fun experience.
Yeah. Oh, you're in the danger zone, Munson. That's good. And I always appreciate the camera work you do, and I appreciate having a night off once in a while. As Mel said, I enjoyed sitting in the seats with a beer and relaxing a little bit. Just great times for me.
That's right. Yeah. And I'm hoping we get another opportunity with something like the berries again this year would be great. Hey,
Yeah.
look who's up in the house. It's Brett
All
Martinez. It
right.
has been a while, Brett. How are you doing, my friend? Thank you for being here and joining us. I just missed
Hell
us
yeah.
talking about, kind of been talking about some Prairie Pro. We got Prairie Pro coming up at the end of June. Everybody's excited. The wrestling splash zone is the pyro area. And I was right in the heat of it right down there at ringside that day because they had the pyro section right behind me where I was standing for the camera operation that night. And then the smoke machine was actually on the floor right by my feet. And so I had the smoke machine going off in that direction. I got the pyro going off behind me. It was quite the experience, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. It was fun. Definitely summertime, first time. Yeah, man. There was no way I was wearing a shirt tonight. You're lucky it's this. I was thinking tonight was almost going to be a tasteful nudity night here on Ring Respect Radio. It's so hot in this place.
Do it,
But I'm keeping it clean. You know, you never know. I don't want to get us kicked off of YouTube here for exposing myself. So, you know, keeping it clean here on Ring Respect.
Do they kick you off YouTube for being too damn sexy, Munson?
Well, they haven't in 9 years yet, Papa's folks. So I guess not. But speaking of sexy, we like good old wrestling. We saw some good old wrestling, especially good old wrestling out of Saskatchewan. And that's what we're here to talk about tonight. Our main topic of the night, it is Reaper Wrestling and their show All Killer, No Filler, which is available over on their YouTube channel. And this is a company that is based here in Saskatchewan, based in Moose Jaw. Few people that we know in Prairie Pro Wrestling actually work over in Reaper Wrestling as well, work that particular company. In fact, one of them being on the card here tonight as well. We're going to talk about that very shortly. This relatively new company, they've got some great sponsorships behind them from some great companies here in the province of Saskatchewan as well, too. And they put together a nice little product here that, you know, even on the YouTube side, if you're looking for something that's a little bit cleaner produced, almost a little bit more partially ready for, you know, like we were talking about, like in our area, SaskTel or Shaw cable television, you know, the kind of on-demand channels that you get on those. It's definitely produced in a way that I could see it being ready for that kind of TV here. You've got some named people on the card. You got some people from the area on the card. You got some good people behind the scenes as well, too. But before we even get into the details of who was on this card, what matches were there, and what we liked the best, Pop Smokes, we've never done a lay of the land of Moose Jaw, so I know you're probably thinking you might want to talk a little bit about the city of Moose Jaw.
Absolutely, yes. Since we're doing a new company that's in a different city that we're used to covering, let's look a little bit at Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. It is the fourth largest city in the province of Saskatchewan. So, and where we're from in Saskatoon, it's about a 2.5 hour drive. It lies at the confluence of the Moose Jaw River and the Thunder Creek. Its main claim, or one of its main claims to fame, is CFB Moose Jaw. That's Canadian Forces Base. It's a NATO flight training school and has trained pilots since 1940. Remains Canada's primary flight training center and home of the famous Snowbirds. If you're not Canadian, you might not know who the Snowbirds are, but they're the demonstration trick jet flying team that goes up and does all kinds of tricks and formations and really just shows off the capabilities of Canadian Air Force planes. But the main claim to fame of Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan is the tunnels. Mm-hmm. These were built in the late 1880s. They are tunnels underneath the city, as they were built as steam pipe passages and boiler maintenance for downtown businesses such as laundries and restaurants. This led to the unsubstantiated story that Chinese immigrants used to hide in them, hiding from racist practices, although there's no evidence that there were these people hiding underneath, but more in keeping with the lore of Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, it is legend that gangsters during Prohibition used to use these tunnels for bootlegging and prostitution. So they would use those hidden tunnels underneath the city to hide their illegal booze and other illegal practices. There's little evidence to actually show that this happened, and the other big rumor is that Al Capone himself used to use Moose Jaw as one of his bases of operations. There's no known pictures of him or direct evidence that he was there, but this is one of the things that the city runs with is that the romanticized vision of the tunnels being used during Prohibition to hide illegal alcohol and used by American gangsters in order to run Canadian whiskey down to the States. Now, interesting little story. Now, Munson, I know you've been to Moose Jaw a few times. I know
Yes,
you've
yes,
been
sir.
to the spa there. I've also been
Yep.
to the city a few times. It's a nice little city. What do you think of this? Have you ever taken the famous tunnels tour in Moose Jaw?
Surprisingly, I have not. My wife has, and has explained it. Every time we go, it's like I keep thinking of doing it, and then for some reason we get caught up doing something else, and we don't end up going. And I'm like, it's Moose Jaw. It's 2.5 hours away. I'll get there next time, and I keep putting it off. I really do got to experience it because everybody I've heard that's gone in there said they love it. And I've heard mixed. Because you got the one, the Chinese tunnels production that they do there. Some really love that one. Other ones really love the one based on the bootlegging and the use of Al Capone in those times during Prohibition. And some people think that one is absolutely mind blowing. Have you taken either one of them in, Pop Smokes? And what were your thoughts on
No,
them?
no, I have not. I've been to Moose Jaw a couple of times briefly, and I find it a charming little city. It's cute. It looks nice. I like the way the downtown is designed. It's got some really nice parks and other recreational public features. I like that, but have not yet ever gone to the spa or either of the tunnel tours. So something to think about for the future.
Yeah, definitely. A couple of funny stories. So being down there was first of all, there's a hell of a bakery. I can't remember what it's called, but anytime that we're in town, it's like you want to get there early enough to get to that bakery because their baked goods are just chef's kiss. Like they're absolutely incredible. But up until I think it was a few years ago or so, there was this amazing glass shop that they had in Moose Jaw, and I would always pick up a new piece of glass on my way back from a trip to Moose Jaw from this guy's shop, in particular because his glass shop was located at the address of 420 High Street. And I'm not kidding you. 420 High Street was the glass shop in Moose Jaw, the most fantastic address for a glass shop in history. I had to visit it every time based on that alone.
Wow, how did they swing that one, Bob? That can't be a coincidence that they ended up getting that spot.
Yeah, I mean, even just to have your glass shop on High Street would be something, but to manage to land, I don't know how they landed it, but 420 High Street, like that was amazing, absolutely amazing. And the guy who ran it too, he was a good dude. I really liked stopping in there talking to him. He'd always give me a good deal on some decent glass pieces and stuff like that too. So really missed that place. That's one of the ones that they lost there. I think the guy, I can't remember what he chose to do. He moved on. They shut the glass shop down and maybe wasn't pulling in the kind of money it used to. Unfortunately, it's a sad thing because I really liked it, but it is what it is. Nothing lasts forever, as they say.
Yeah, absolutely. But at least you got some memories of Moose Jaw, and then we've got a few more after watching this show. Now they've got a nice looking little wrestling company going there.
They do, yes. So, of course, do we want to get right into the matches, or did you have anything on the arena or the building they ran out of?
Oh, well, yeah, they run out of what is called the Pit in the
Yes.
Hustle Culture Fitness Club. So it's a gym that has a nice, decent sized space. They've got the ring in there, and it looks like they have room for, what would you say, Munson, 150 people, maybe something like that?
Yeah, 150, 200 tops. I mean, once you really
Yeah,
saw later in the show when they got into the audience, you could tell more because they do wise with the video production on this to keep the crowd a little bit darker so that you don't necessarily see because they're loud. I mean, these fans, they're Saskatchewan
loud.
people. Of course, they're loud. They're very vocal
Yeah.
throughout this entire show. Like I said to you, I got right into the start of watching this and I'm like, something about this feels kind of like home because of the fact that these people are these are our people, Papa Smokes, and it fit nicely. So this particular show, we start off with somebody we're very familiar with, no stranger to PPW or working with us over the years, even in HIW. Sean Moore kicks things off. Love this guy. Glad to see him come out. Says he's been injured and couldn't compete the last time on the last card. That's a shame. And he's about to tell us if the doctor has got him approved, if he's going to be able to wrestle tonight. And I'm like, all right, Sean, let's have it. Please tell me you're wrestling tonight. And all of a sudden some music hits, and we got the introduction of KSB Incorporated. This is Frankie Kazarian, Sydney Steele, and Jesse Bieber. Yes, you heard that correctly. Jesse Bieber. They come on out. Kazarian then threatens more, says that there's no man nor beast that can stop the team of KSB from giving a beat down to Sean Moore tonight. And some more music hits, and all of a sudden the man beast Rhino comes out with a chair, clearing KSB out of the ring, and he declares that he's come to Moose Jaw for one thing, and that is to kick some ass. Interesting way to kick the show off here.
Very much so, and just kind of billboarding what's going to happen later on in the card. We've got Moore, unfortunately, unable to compete. One of my very favorites, I know one of your favorites on the Western Canadian scene. Extremely talented wrestler, extremely awesome guy. Too bad. Wanted to see his latest match, but we don't get that. Instead, we get the top heel faction coming out. And Frankie Kazarian, we all know who he is from TNA and more recently AEW and many other companies that he's worked for. Kazarian can basically work anywhere he wants to, but we get a little glimpse of Sydney Steele and Jesse Bieber, who turns out to be one of the really key wrestlers in this company because the crowd hates him. Ooh, do they ever? And as I watched this, I could really empathize with the crowd. He's very, as you like to say, Munson, he's got a slappable face. And boy, I'd like to give him one, but he gets under the skin of the fans. Perfect for someone in a top heel group. And he's really, really going to work that heel magic he's got all the way through this card.
Yeah, you bet. And speaking of people who don't have a slappable face, in fact, have a very welcoming one. Good evening to Blair from the Grainmaker Wrestling Podcast. Hey, sun's out, guns out. You bet it's hot one. Yes, thank you for being here, Blair. You can go check out Blair on the Grainmaker Wrestling Podcast. Subscribe to his channel. And you can also check him out as a part of Winnipeg Pro Wrestling. I believe, wasn't it just this last Saturday? Sup Bud from Winnipeg Pro Wrestling came out. Looking forward to being able to check that card out on YouTube as soon as it hits. But yes, I can't wait to maybe even mosey on down to Winnipeg this summer and get those guns out as we're watching some WPW live. That's the hope so far. We got to make the plans. Oh, and it was a hell of a show, Blair says. Cannot wait, man. Cannot wait. You guys never disappoint. It's always a hell of a show. We'd love watching Winnipeg Pro. It's always a good time.
Oh, very much so. Excellent product, excellent wrestling company, and great commentary, Blair. Love listening to you. So we'll be on all the WPW cards as they come out.
Yeah, here we go. Back to Reaper Wrestling with our very first matchup of the night. It is the Prairie Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Champion, the man with the longest name in professional wrestling, Michael Allen Richard Clark, taking on the young lion, Bryce Hansen. So one guy we're familiar with, I'm not familiar with Bryce Hansen yet. This is my first look in at him. Got a very solid build on this guy. Does very nice work here. Very impressive throughout this thing. I would say this was a great way to open the card here with at least, as far as I could tell, one guy that they really know in Michael Allen Richard Clark. Bryce Hansen, maybe he's known to this crowd a little bit more, but I thought he was a standout here for me, definitely in this matchup because I was unfamiliar, and I think that he was quite impressive here in the opening matchup. What are your thoughts here, Bob Smokes, for this one?
Yeah, nice, hot match to start off this card. It really got the crowd into it. Not that they needed much prompting. And you know, Bob, I was going to ask you what you thought of this. Do you think they were serving booze at this? Because by the end of this show, it really sounded like they were serving booze at this.
Yeah, I think they were. They had to have been.
They had to have been. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. But that's beside the point. Anyway, yeah, these two started out with a barn burner. They were going fast. They did wrestling spots, running the ropes, some holds, some reversals, some moves. and they were going fast. And I thought, what's going on here? It's impressive for sure, but it was fast and a million miles an hour through this. So I wondered if they were already coming up with time constraints in the card, but that's not usually the case in the opening match. But at any rate, these guys were going a million miles an hour. I wasn't completely sure about heel and babyface right off the bat, but then Bryce Hansen was clearly the babyface after watching this match for a few minutes. Clark then the heel, but still hit his push-up spot, and the crowd was delighted by that. They enjoyed seeing Clark do some push-ups on Hansen's back. Um, Eventually, Hansen hits a hard lariat. Not so perfect sit down power bomb, but he ends up getting the pin on Michael Allen, Richard Clark, and a sportsmanlike handshake between the two afterwards. So I like this as an opening match. Fast, technical, lots of wrestling, and a little bit of sportsmanship. It shows sometimes in the first match that this is a contest between two athletes. One has to win and one's going to lose, but there's still that camaraderie, that sportsmanship there. I thought the handshake was a nice move at the end from, it's weird to call Michael Allen Richard Clark a veteran now, but we've been watching his stuff for a long time. Clearly, he was the veteran in this situation. And the young lion, Bryce Hansen, looking good after this match. So, building up one of their younger talent in the first match, having him go over an experienced and excellent veteran in Clark. So, we're off and going, and the crowd is nice and warmed up.
Yeah, you bet. So moving on from there. Okay, first I'm going to get this out of the way. There's a lot of like segments in this show because it is produced like it is made for television. So I will mention that. I'll mention the segments, but we're not going to dwell on the segments too much here, Pop Spokes, just in the interest of time. But I will say right away, first segment we get is the winner's circle with the victorious BRG. And I'm like, wait, do they mean Brett Ryan Gosling? And then he shows up on screen. I'm like, fuck, they did mean Brett Ryan Gosling. I remember this guy from MLW. And here's the thing. I say that with the utmost respect because I feel like we didn't necessarily get to see what he was like prior to this or how he has developed since that run in MLW. And he kind of got lumped into the whole Love Doug situation. And if there's one guy on the indie scene I'm just not too keen on, it's Love Doug, and I feel that could have dragged down just about anybody on the MLW scene, and MLW just wasn't cooking that hot at the time, so I feel like that brought it down. So I was like, I'm going to open my mind to this. We'll see what we get from him. He has Jake Adams as a guest. We're going to see him later on in the night, and we'll let you know what we thought of the victorious BRG in Reaper Wrestling. But we go to our next match, Pop Spokes. We have got Crazy, Double Z, Crazy Steve taking on Jason Hotch. And similarly, like you were saying with the first match, not knowing who's babyface and who's heel, I struggled with that a little bit in this one too, because Crazy Steve, like his approach on the way out kind of felt like he was going to be working heel and Jason Hotch was going to be working babyface. Then halfway through the match, it became a little bit more clear that Hotch was the heel in this situation and that the people liked Crazy Steve because he's all kinds of weird. He does weird stuff. He's got a very interesting, different approach to this whole situation. And they've got a lot of weird character, or a couple of really weird characters here in Reaper Wrestling, starting with Crazy Steve. But the reason that this match, which was a very competitive match, even comes to an end and ends up in a DQ situation is because Crazy Steve has this weird briefcase at the side of the ring with a glove that he put inside of it. Nothing else but a glove. And he keeps kind of like almost having a conversation with it until good Tholonious runs out, jumping Crazy Steve in the match and causing a disqualification. Crazy Steve ends up winning by DQ, but good Tholonious steals that briefcase and runs off with it. Thoughts on this one, Bob Spokes?
Yeah, this wasn't my favorite match on the card, but it was still pretty good. It was very, unlike the last previous match, this one was very slow to get going. Hotch, once he got out there, he started healing it up once he was in the ring. the crowd still seem to like him. They're a very supportive crowd, which is a little bit like PPW too. If the heel has some charisma, they will still like him. The match sped up with Crazzy Steve on offense. Hotch repeatedly slowed it down by retreating to the outside of the ring, sort of Larry Zbyszko style, just taking his time. Every time they're about to lock up, oh no, he doesn't like it. He's going to step out of the ring and walk around a little bit. So this one frustrating the crowd a little bit. Thought Hotch looked pretty good physique-wise. He looks like an athlete and wrestles like one too. He's quite athletic. Hotch controlled for a long time in this match with heel moves, choking, stomps, kicking while on the mat. There was an interesting spot where Hotch got knocked off the top rope into the wall. Now we got to explain here that three sides of this ring have fans sitting around it, but one side is up against the wall. So you can see they're a little bit cramped for space in there, but it still looks good like that. But Hotch got up on the top rope in that corner where the wall is and knocked off, and he hit the wall pretty hard. That was a nice looking spot. I'm glad it wasn't me taking it, but he seemed to be none the worse for wear after that.
Yeah.
Eventually, as you mentioned, Tholonious running in, getting the DQ, and Crazzy Steve, as I like to call him, gets
Crazzy. Oh, he calls him Crazzy Steve, and he gets knocked off the stream all of a sudden. Bob Smoke's having some technical difficulties at the moment, but I'll stick with you. And we could chat for a little while before Bob Smokes makes his way back to the studio. In fact, returning back to the show in the flesh, there he is. Papa Smokes, welcome back.
Right when I was cooking, of course, always, right?
Yeah, so. Yeah. You called him Crazzy Steve, and suddenly just gone.
Maybe I better not do that anymore. Maybe Steve's got some control over this. But at any rate, this was another match. We're jumping into Reaper Wrestling right here without much background or anything, but apparently the glove having some kind of value, some kind of power, and Tholonious wants the glove real bad, as do several people by the look of it. So Tholonious gets the briefcase, gets the glove, takes off, and we've got a DQ ending match here, but also pretty decent match, pretty good wrestling throughout this. So match number 2 in the books.
You bet. And it was going to be followed by match number 3 of the ladies' match of the night as Jody Threat, the Wild Child, taking on Zondra Lee. Very familiar with Jody Threat. Excellent wrestler. We know that she's now back again as the Winnipeg Pro Wrestling Women's Champion. Glad we get an opportunity to see her. Zondra Lee, very, very new. In fact, introduced to pro wrestling, debuting in 2021. So only a 5-year run as a professional wrestler so far for Zondra Lee. Looks good in the matchup. She's got one of those voices, and throughout this thing, as she's smack talking, I could tell that she would be very good if she continues to progress that. Her interaction with the audience and the voice, her voice carries extremely well through this whole thing, that I find like just with a little bit of tweaking, she could become somebody that really could irritate and get under the fans' skin and do a good job. But this was a nice job by both ladies. Jody Threat never disappoints, manages to work well, doesn't matter who her opponent seems to be, gets through this one quite well, and comes out in the end with a big pinfall victory over Zondra Lee. So nice job by the ladies here. Your thoughts, Bob Smokes?
Yeah, I also like this ladies match quite a lot. They gave them about 9 minutes or so, which is quite enough time to have a good full match. Jody Threat, I love her. I love her presentation, the way she comes out as a babyface with all that just exploding, overflowing energy all the time. Like it's undeniable when you're as a viewer of the match or as sitting in the crowd. Her energy is completely infectious. She comes out, she wants to have a beer, she wants to interact with the fans. She's all about the energy. So that's just undeniable babyface energy. Zondra Lee, the opposite of that, coming out slow, coming out looking kind of bitchy, kind of glaring at the crowd, kind of got that, as you mentioned, that smack talk and everything. But I liked her presentation too. She looked good, and she looked like like a heel that you'd really have to be careful with. Um, Threat takes the advantage off the bat with that energy, and she's a very skilled wrestler and has got that MMA background as well. But now Lee slows it down, works a heel style. She applied a nice Texas cloverleaf during this match and had Threat
Mm-hmm.
in some trouble. Threat comes back, more intensity, screaming, like screaming to the crowd. The crowd screams back at her. It's awesome. It works so well. Zondra hangs in there with the veteran for a while, but Threat, undeniable, as I said, hits an F5, gets the 1, 2, 3. So 9 minutes, we're in and out. Solid ladies match, solid match. Good stuff on this card for the third match in. I like it, and we've got two strong-looking women wrestlers making making waves in this company and making them look good. I Do they have a ladies belt in Reaper Wrestling? I don't think we know that, or I don't think they mentioned that. Maybe
Yeah,
soon to come. And
yeah, I would
they
imagine more
probably
of a
have,
soon to come.
yeah, they probably have the same issues that Prairie Pro Wrestling has in just trying to get enough female talent all the way out here to do matches. I imagine that's part of it. But at any
Or
rate, they've
even,
got two good
yeah,
talents right here.
yeah, or even sometimes just the development within, right? Try to have the homegrown talent in Saskatchewan as well too,
Yep.
and wanting to grow
Yep.
from this side as well. And again, and it's not every belt has to be today, especially with a newer company, and
Yep.
that's how Prairie Pro has done it. We had the heavyweight title for a long time. Tag team titles got introduced. Will there be more titles? I ain't telling you, and none of y'all. You know why? Because you got to buy tickets to come see Prairie Pro Wrestling live to find out that kind of stuff. So remember, reach out, get tickets. Cheap
Hey,
plugs over.
and on the topic of producing female talent in Saskatchewan, I will let you in on this little nugget of information. And Munson, you know this already. Prairie Pro Wrestling Academy is cooking up something in that department. We've got a few little prospects coming up there looking real good. And I know that the company and you and I are both proud of that. Building some new talent, especially in the ladies division. Really, really good to see.
Yeah, you bet. When it happens and when time, people are going to be paying attention. That's for damn sure, Pops folks, as they always do.
Yep.
Had a couple of other little pieces, segments that we had after this one. First was Mic Check with Jesse Bieber, as he calls himself, wrestling's greatest pop star. And apparently he gave Celine Dion her start, and he tells us all to not overthink the timeline because it's not worth it. This was funny and so slappable at the same time. Every bit of word that came out of his mouth, I'm like, I am seeing why these people hate him. And oh, P.S., by the way, you can buy t-shirts that say fuck you Bieber on them exclusively at Reaper Wrestling.
I would hope so because that was certainly said, chanted, and screamed enough at this card to warrant a shirt for sure.
Yeah, so even if you're not a wrestling fan and you just hate Justin Bieber, get yourself a fuck you Bieber t-shirt today. So, but up next, right before our next match, Cody Deaner's backstage, finds Good Tholonious, asks him if he's ready for the matchup, getting things good to go, as Good Tholonious is still hugging that briefcase that he stole earlier in the night. So our next matchup is a tag team matchup. Yes, members of the KSB, Jesse Bieber and Sydney Steele in action against Cody Deaner and Good Tholonious. Man, Cody Deaner did a lot of work in this matchup, Papa Smokes. Held it together for his team because the Good Tholonious spent a lot of the time really selling that briefcase as being something special, being on the outside, not wanting to let it go for too long a period of time. So a lot of the time, Deaner in there, taking the bumps, putting in the work, doing all that stuff. He looks good. He works good. Same with, Bieber and Sydney Steele. I could see why it's good to put these guys in a tag team together. It works. Bieber has got all kinds of heat from that audience, and I can see why. Instantly, this is a guy that I'm going, okay, I'm paying attention because I want to see somebody punch you in the goddamn face, which means he's doing his job. That's, again, me saying that I don't like this guy isn't like I don't like this guy as a human being. I don't like this character, and I want to see this character get his comeuppance, and that's what it comes down to. But here we go, this tag team match, competitive all the way through until that moment where Diener's getting a little frustrated because Tholonious doesn't really want to get into the matchup. He's once again hugging that briefcase. This causing enough of distraction so that there's an opportunity there for the other team to roll up Diener, get a pinfall victory, getting KSB the victory. And then there's the aftermath. Diener willing to forgive good Tholonious for his actions, costing them the matchup. But that didn't last too long either, because after a handshake, Tholonious took it upon himself to nutshot Diener from behind right before Crazy Steve comes out for another attack and to get back his briefcase. A whole lot of chaos going on here, Pop Smokes. Your thoughts?
Yeah. This was a pretty standard, solid tag team wrestling match, if you want to look at it that way. It was 13 minutes or so, and nothing particularly fancy or particularly unusual in this match. The heels were heeling hard, and the baby faces trying to overcome that. But of course, this was almost completely a 2-on-1 match due to Tholonious not really being motivated to participate in this match so much. Thought Cody Diener did a great job. A lot of bumping, a lot of selling for Diener that night. And that's good too, because he can make his name and reputation off of a good performance like that too. But on the heel side, I like Steele and Bieber as a team. They make a lot of sense. Sidney Steele's big, strong. He's pretty solid in the ring. And then Bieber's got that, what do you want to call it? That heel energy, that despisedness. And he's just such
He's got that Will Stone tone to him.
Oh, yeah. He's just an unbelievable douchebag. He affects his voice and everything, and we get to hear him sing at some point during this, and that's just completely god-awful. He's doing a great job of it, and that's evidenced by the fans. Bieber gets by far the biggest reaction of any wrestler on this card, and it's a negative reaction. So talk about some good heel work. I'm mildly confused still about the glove and its significance and the briefcase and everything, but of course we are just jumping in on our first show here. I'm sure that will become obvious at some point. And then Crazzy Steve running out with just some kind of medieval axe at the end. I was just kind of thinking, what the hell is going on here? He's got an actual bladed scythe-style axe coming out there. I don't know what's going on, but at any rate, we've got the top heel team interacting with the babyface team, and the heel team, little too strong for that. Bit of a numbers game. They're going over, and then the groin shot. If they weren't heelish enough, there's the groin shot after the match and the attack, causing Steve to have to come out with his axe. Little confusing, little chaotic, lots going on here, but all shall become clearer as we go along.
It shall, yeah. We'll have to keep watching in order to find out more. Yeah. Up next, a quick promo for Maniac, which I'm assuming is another wrestler coming in. I guess we'll again watch more to find out. Then we got our second last match of the night. This is Victorious BRG, and in his corner, Jacob Adams taking on Tommy Billington. So already you've got my attention, because the times we've seen Tommy Billington, like we first saw him in MLW a little bit there when he came in, and still seemed pretty new, pretty green and everything. But since then, the matches we've seen with Tommy Billington, he's putting in the work. He's starting to look really good in the ring, and I'm really enjoying what he's bringing to the table a lot more each and every time that I see him. As for my verdict on Victorious BRG, okay, I can stand this version of Victorious BIG more than what I saw in MLW. There was nothing wrong with this matchup. This was a solid one-on-one matchup, and in fact, as far as a solid one-on-one matchup goes, probably the best match on this entire card overall for singles competition, I would say. I'm still not, Victorious BRG is never going to hit my top list of wrestlers you must watch or anything like that. Maybe that'll change with time, because again, this is the first time I can say I've enjoyed watching Victorious BRG, because I just didn't like his run in MLW. that's a personal taste because all we ever really saw was him lumped in with the Love Doug stuff. So I said I'd keep an open mind, kept an open mind. I like this. I'm curious to see if it fits the same when he's not working with a Tommy Billington. We'll see how he does next time around with a different opponent. But I liked this match probably the most on the card overall for the most part. Again, not much more I can say. I like Tommy Billington a lot. Victorious BRG changed my mind a slight bit. Your thoughts, Bob Smokes?
Yeah, that's pretty fair, I guess. I also came into this match with a little bit of stink still on Ryan Gosling. Gosling or Goslin?
Yeah, same thing, different.
Goslin,
Yeah,
I think. Okay, at any rate. So I was kind of like, yeah, not sure if I was going to like this, but yeah, like you said, we saw Tommy Billington as part of the British Bulldogs as when they first started wrestling. I assume that was very early in their wrestling career. The two brothers there in MLW, they were looking nervous and looking green back then. We've seen since then, that must have been almost 5 years ago. We've seen Tommy Billington all over the Indies. He's been on other cards that we've covered on this podcast. I've seen him doing the circuit in the States and throughout Canada. So I admire the tenacity of this guy, humping the road, going and doing lots of dates, getting booked lots, wrestling different kinds of opposition, different styles of wrestler. But at the end of it, Tommy Billington's going to wrestle his style, just like his dad did, and just like I'll call him his uncle, but Davey Boy Smith. Yeah, he's an in-ring guy, and that's his bread and butter is in-ring wrestling. Serious, methodical. Um, he uses many of the same moves that his father, Tom Billington, the Dynamite Kid, used, and he uses that same snapping kind of style. I really, really like that.
yeah.
Nothing's done just with a lift and then a flip over and a drop. He does everything with snap. He does everything with a lot of speed and a lot of power. And I like that. Right off the bat in this match, they were wrestling to start off. And Tommy uses one of Davey Boy's sequences to escape from the arm twist. It's the little somersault forward, the little somersault back, then the kip up, then the flip over, and then he uses those famous and recognizable sequences that his dad used, much to his advantage as well, because that stuff still looks good now. We just mentioned this one or two podcasts ago. You want a good match to watch or a good couple of matches? Watch Dynamite Kid versus Tiger Mask in Japan in 1984. Those matches changed everything for the for the style of wrestling that was to come. It changed from that slower territory style into a more ring work, more aerial, more showy kind of style. Everybody loved that Tiger Mask versus Tom Billington, the Dynamite Kid. And yeah, that influence still strong in wrestling today, especially from Tommy Billington, the son of the Dynamite Kid. And yeah, he puts on a good display in this match. There were a few spots that I liked in this. Tommy almost got pinned by a spinning fisherman suplex. That looked pretty cool. I liked that a whole bunch. There was a Billington backdropped BRG onto the apron. That looked painful. That looked extremely painful. That didn't go well for Brett at all. But Billington eventually tries to suplex BRG into the ring. The manager, Adams, pulls Billington's feet out from under him and holds his leg down during the pin attempt. 1, 2, 3. The heels win by cheating. So this is a 14-minute match. They gave them some time to show their stuff, get all their stuff in. Pretty entertaining match. Like this one a whole bunch, and I've really enjoyed watching the improvement of Tom Billington throughout all this. And whether he's a guest or going to be a regular at Reaper Wrestling, we don't know. But looking good and going over in this match. And Victorious BRG, probably also a guest in this, does the job this time, but makes Billington look pretty good in the meantime.
You bet. Yeah. But yeah, moving on from there, it is time, Bob Smokes, for our main event of the evening. This match scheduled for one fall.
One fall.
And it is for the King's Crown Championship. Yes, champion Frankie Kazarian putting the title on the line against the man beast Rhino. Yes, as always, Frankie Kazarian not going to be alone. He comes down with Sydney Steele and Jesse Bieber at his side, the members of KSB. Match gets underway, but of course, very apparent that the members of KSB are not going to be on their best behavior. They're going to be causing some shenanigans. So the referee's having none of this. Papa Smokes right away. He sends them straight to the back. Those guys are hightailing it back out of here. But you got to be pretty naive as a wrestling fan to think that they aren't going to make their way back into this match some way, somehow in this evening. But before we get there, this match spills to the outside. We get the first opportunity to see a little bit more of the audience on hand and the setup that is Reaper Wrestling. Then eventually this gets back into the ring. These two, of course, great professionals. Obviously, they've been to the dance enough time that they're going to give you some good solid stuff, especially when they're in the ring. But that's when the shenanigans start happening. Ref takes a bump, and then there's a door brought into the ring by Rhino because he's going to put Kazarian through. And then the other members of KSB make their way back out to the ring, and there's another official brought in, but that official takes a bump. And this is Wrestling 101 booking of a main event, it seems, in so many ways, where it's, these guys come out and this ref takes a bump and this happens. And I'm not slagging it. It's just been done so much that you could call every hit as it was about to happen in this matchup throughout it. But the plus side is that these guys are polished. They're obviously guys that, can be trusted in a main event spot with bigger companies. So why wouldn't you trust them here? Despite his best efforts, Rhino can't get the job done. KSB proved to be too much, and Kazarian holds on to the belt. But afterwards, he gets a little bit of his heat back when he ends up getting that door into use that didn't get used previously, because Jesse Bieber spends a little bit too much time mocking the fans, only for the man beast to grab a hold of him and inevitably put him through the wooden door, and then make a proclamation that he ain't done. He wants that title, and he's going to be coming back for Kazarian. So apparently Rhino making it apparent that he ain't done with Reaper Wrestling. So thoughts on the main event, Pop Smokes?
Yeah, I enjoyed this. It was this was clearly, you called it Wrestling Booking 101, and I can't disagree with that. This was a match not only to kind of further the story of what's going on with their heavyweight title in Reaper Wrestling, but this was one for the fans, right? I mean, this was for the fans to enjoy. And the boys in the ring made sure that was going to happen. Of course, Kaz comes out with his Stooges, because they're the main heel faction in the company. So that they're, what's the real purpose of a heel faction, especially a top heel faction? They're there to protect the one that's the champion, right? They're there to enforce their man keeping the title, and Kaz was going to keep that belt around his waist as much as he could, with the Rhino breathing down his neck. Now they started pretty strong, and Rhino using strength and power, of course. Boy, he still looks pretty good, doesn't he, Rhino? Like, I don't know how old this guy is, but for a dude that did a lot of his wrestling in ECW back in the day, he really he looks none the worse for wear. Maybe his bump card is not full yet, because he doesn't look much different than he did back in the early 2000s in the ECW days. So cheers to him. Good. Same with Kazarian. He's no spring chicken either, but he still looks pretty good as well. So cheers to those long timers that are still going on the indie scene.
And fans, just to pause you for 1 second, just want to shout out Bobby Petito, giving a video the thumbs
Bobby.
Up and being here tonight. Yeah. Thanks, Bobby. How you doing, brother?
Bob, we haven't seen you in a while. Thanks for coming back, buddy.
Sorry to interrupt, Bob Smokes.
No problem. Always worth it to say hi to Bobby. But the fans appreciated the history of the past here, chanting EC Dub, EC Dub. That's very nice. The two wrestlers take this match out into the crowd, and they fought out in the audience for a long time. So you know that this this sequence is meant to kind of just give the fans a good up close look at the action, to give them a good close look at the wrestlers, and to bring them in to kind of make them feel involved, make them feel like they're interacting with the show without actually putting them in danger. There was one good spot where Rhino had Kazarian and was giving him some punches right over some dude's seat, and you could see the look on the guy's face, like he wasn't too sure what to think of that because they were brawling right on top of him pretty much. The expression on the guy's face is classic. Just a combination of I'm loving this because they're having the match right next to me, but also mixed with a bit of my God, am I going to get killed here? Like these guys are huge and they're trading hard shots right in front of me. I was tickled by that part, but at any rate, a great match. Got about 11 minutes here. The heels healed. They cheated. They did everything they could to make sure that Kazarian keeps the belt, and he did. But also, like I said, this match was for the fans. So what do the fans want? They want to see Bieber get gored hard. And he did. And it was through a door. So not only gore, Munson, but door. Nicely
That's
done.
right.
Rhino looking like $1 million in this. Huge hero to the Moose Jaw fans here. And like he said, he'll be back for more. So time will tell. Will Reaper Wrestling bring in some of these wrestlers from the States for all their cards? We don't know how often they run, but presumably with Kazarian having a hold of their belt, they are going to be appearing regularly on here. So this is your main event feud for now, at least until Sean Moore gets back. It's going to be Rhino chasing Kazarian for the Reaper title.
And you don't just have to catch them in Moose Jaw, because apparently 2 shows taking place this summer in July in St. Catharines, Ontario. So you'll be able to catch Reaper Wrestling on the road this summer. So yes, they are running a couple of extra spots, but that's going to be a wrap on Reaper Wrestling anyway. Pop Smokes, our first look into them, and hopefully some more down the road as well too. But we are getting close to the top of the hour. So in the meantime and in between time, I just put that beautiful ticker of Papa Spokes is up on the screen. He's going to let you know where you can find him next.
All right, everybody. I'm always here every week. Yeah, Bobby. I'm always here every week on Ring Respect Radio, hosted by OLE Podcast and the Video Bros Network. Other than that, I can be found on Elon Musk's Free Speech Wonderland, known as X. I'm at smokes_papa, and also on Twitch, allegedly at least, at papa_smokes_.
All right, that's where you'll find Papa Smokes. That's for myself, Bobby Munson. The credentials down below are where you're going to be able to find me. And we also want to say thank you, Bobby, for enjoying the show, being out here, and looking forward to MLW Fusion this Saturday. We are too. In fact, that's next Thursday night's big show right here on the channel. Pop Smokes and I are going to be reviewing the 2-hour return of MLW Fusion next Thursday night here on the show. So, Bobby, Statsman, we hope you're going to be in the chat for that one. And, of course, Mangler, thank you as always for being here on a Thursday night, supporting and being in the chat. We always appreciate you. And then, of course, where you can find me next, of course, usually you can find me Sundays with Andre C, 11 a.m. Eastern time for Point of View, talking the week in sports. But this Sunday, I'm actually going to be away. My wife and I are going to be going golfing together because it is her birthday coming up on Monday. And so we have decided to go out golfing on Sunday. We have tea time at the exact time we'd be going live with Point of View. So we're going to take one weekend off, a little bit of a break, give you guys a breather, and then we will be back with you in a week's time from there. Of course, you can catch myself and Papa Spokes as part of Prairie Pro Wrestling over on YouTube, your commentary team, where this Saturday he's coming back, Papa Spokes, the Mexican Devil, El Asesino, after that hellacious cage match at the Ring of Horrors. We'll see him back in action against the ever so popular Soup Nasty. So check that one out Saturday on the channel. But you can catch this and all other great shows here at OLE Podcast. There we are across all social media and, of course, YouTube and Twitch, where we are partners. So go ahead, click the subscribe button down below, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment in the comment section below. If you want to donate, you can do that through Super Chats. You can do it through bits and subs over on Twitch as well. And you can also give us hype points 3 times a week by using your mobile phone 24 hours after this stream has gone live. We appreciate everyone who joins us in a live capacity, and everybody who watches us on replay. We appreciate you too. All the love to you, all the best to you, and we'll see you next Thursday night. Take care, everyone.